Well, hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Late night broadcast for you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. If it's Monday, it's Beyond Babbitt, and this is your host, Brian Anthony. How are y'all doing today? Um, Thought we should talk about this. Some very important subject matter about preparedness. I mean, we as citizens have to do our part to be prepared, but the military as well has to be prepared. So we'll give you a few more minutes for a few more people to join in on this live broadcast, on this Monday evening transmission, Monday night transmission. Not a lot of news out there today. Stock market finished down, but relatively flat. Not too much. A few stocks made a comeback, but overall down. I believe for all three. Um, I mainly pay attention to the dial. To me, that projects the future. It tells us what we need to do, where we're going, and everything like that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Um, Now we got some information here about the shape of our Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, and NATO, because we have some incidents that happen here. Now, this could be, now we know that all the bases are loaded. We know that there's an amount of ships down in by South America, Central America, down that area forming. We still don't know who they belong to actually. I mean, we're making some guesses. We know that that's by Venezuela, which is basically a de facto part of the BRICS nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And we know South Africa, Venezuela is doing major business with Russia and China right now as far as oil, gold, and silver. And the U.S. and the West hates that. So let's still go ahead and talk about what's happening with the Air Force. Why aren't we prepared as we should be? Now I did some research. It looks like that we've had to ground cold as ice. All right. So it looks like we had to ground all of our F-35s. Now we know that the F-35 is a very expensive plane, probably the most expensive plane that we have. It's very technically advanced, but there's been a lot of bugs, a lot of things happening with it. You know, the F-35 is the new fighter jet that can just take off and go straight up. The boosters, and then they turn and it can, you know what I mean? So it can go like a helicopter and a plane, and it's fast, but a lot of computer glitches. You know, like when you roll out a new computer program, this bug, that bug, got to fix this, got to fix that. But one thing they figured out about the F-35s is that they can beat the Russian anti-missile defense system, the surface-to-air missiles. It can beat the S-200s and the S-300s. So the top of the line right now is the S-400, and that's only for Russian use. But they're starting to sell that because now Russia's rolling out the S-500. So to all the nations who spent those millions of dollars, maybe even billions of dollars, uh, trying to get surface-to-air missiles, that'll knock down planes. Well, if you're planning on using your S-200 or S-300 Soviet or Russian-made missile defense system against the F-35s, you're probably out of luck. It's not going to work. But the F-35 does require that upgrade package from Israel in order to beat those missile systems. So it's been said that the F-35s have some type of a malfunction with the fuel tube. There's a fuel tube malfunction. That's a known malfunction. So They've recently, as of last week, grounded all of the F-35s all over the world. I guess so they can put the patch on there, put the fix on there. Um, so that's definitely going to affect our preparedness. The United States and its allies, NATO and everybody else, Israel and whoever else purchases or has purchased that F-35. So if the conflict were to start today, we'd be in deep trouble because I don't know of any other jets that can beat that Russian air defense system. So it looks like all the F-35s have been grounded due to a fuel tube malfunction. It looks like one of the F-35s actually crashed in Iraq. So the others have been grounded until that repair is made, that patch is made to get those up to par. Okay, so that's one reason why we wouldn't be prepared. When, our newest, stealthiest jet, most expensive jet, is not fighter ready yet. It's not ready to take on those challenges. So what do y'all think about that? I mean, what do you think? I think the jet was close to $1 trillion each. They're very expensive, um, and they're not ready to fight. You know, and the World War III is at the door. Um, okay, with that said, I understand that we've had at least, yeah, the world knows. We need to know as the people, where our government inefficiencies are, so we can take up the slack on our own. Because just because we're not ready to fight doesn't mean everybody else is, and they may go ahead and start the fight anyway. Faulty chips in the F-35. Yeah, I did hear that China was making military equipment for the U.S. with back doors and things like that. So another plane, so our nuclear bombers are the B-2 Spirit bombers. So since President Trump has been there, and maybe before that, we parked a couple of those B-2 bombers in Guam. We have a military Air Force base in Guam. And we also had some F-22 fighter squadron parked in Guam. Well, what's happened is, all of a sudden, now the whole time North Korea was acting up, threatening, oh, I'm going to bomb this, I'm going to bomb that, and I'm going to hit Japan. And that's when we parked them there. Because Guam, is our facility. We can quickly get in that area and use them. But at that time, we didn't think that those countries had the ability or capability to strike that Air Force base. Now, here recently, I understand that we've moved a squadron of Spirit B-2 bombers and a squadron of F-22 fighter jets from Guam to Hawaii. We actually moved them. And it's rumored to be because of the North Korean and Chinese missile threats, their capability to hit Guam, the range of the missiles. So it's like a chessboard. You don't want to have your pieces there to be destroyed. You wouldn't even get them off the ground, because now we've seen that China has the supersonic and hypersonic weapons. North Korea has increased their missile range, hasn't denuclearized, and is playing games basically. And so we've moved our squadron of F-22 fighters and the B-2 Spirit bombers from Guam to Hawaii. Now remember, that's where, in Hawaii is where the attack on Pearl Harbor happened, when we had our ship sitting out there, and Japan caught us with our pants down. Right, right. And bombed us in Pearl Harbor. So basically, this is just about preparedness. We have to be prepared. And you notice China, at least for about close to 10 years now, China has been calling for the United States citizenry to be disarmed. See, that should concern you. What business is it of theirs? What business is it of theirs if the citizens have arms? I'll tell you why. It makes it harder for us to be invaded, to be conquered. So no, it's not about propaganda or anything like that. It's about preparedness. It's about knowing that these are real times. We're in real danger. There's a real trade war going on, and then there's going to be a currency war and a real war. So we have to be prepared. Our government is not going to tell us if the military is or is not in shape, where the threats are, because they might be announcing it to the world. But all these governments have military intelligence. They have spy agencies. They have satellites. They know what each other's, have a pretty good idea of what each other can do, their weaknesses and strengths. I mean, so basically what I'm doing is alerting us as the people so we know what to expect. Now, another thing that's happened, we know that, quote unquote, Hurricane Michael, which some say was a DEW, direct energy weapon. The blunt of the storm really only lasted 7 minutes, and that's according to analysis done by In Truth by Grace. Several she's done now. You can check the videos. She's on YouTube, In Truth by Grace. And there was an Air Force base, Tyndall Air Force Base there in Florida, which was hit by Hurricane Michael, was hit dead on. And there was a squadron of 55, total number of 55 F-22s at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida. So before the storm started, they were able to evacuate 33, is the number they gave. 33 F-22s to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. But the other 22 were left there, and most of those were found upside down, damaged. The F-22 is a finicky. Exactly. So the number 33, that number is it's a Masonic number, Illuminati number, and it's definitely a message to them when they give that number. So they evacuated 33 of the jets, of the F-22s, to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, and the other 22 remain there and are damaged, not operable. It's a finicky airplane anyway. So another thing I was made aware of, the date. And one of my listeners, watchers, subscribers, kind of sent this to me since we are on the subject of 33. The date is November the 11th, 2018. 2018, 2 plus 1 plus 8 equals 11. 11, 11, 11, right? 11, 11, 11 is 33. November the 11th, 2018 equals 33. So that could be a significant date for the Illuminati, false flag, start the war, another economic crash, who knows, right? But shout out, I didn't get the name of my guy who sent that out to me, but that's an important date. Think about that. Okay, so now we know that we're having problems with the F-35. They're grounded around the world. The B-2 bombers, which is our nuclear bomber, we had to move it. And the F-22, we had to move those. And then the other squadron of F-22s in Florida were hit by, quote-unquote, Michael the Hurricane, or Hurricane Michael. Okay. Now, internationally, let's see what happened. There's a report coming out that says that in Belgium, of course, in Belgium would be a NATO ally, and they would have U.S. equipment, F-22s and such, F-16s. It looks like aircraft mechanic was working on F-16 jet, and he accidentally hit the cannons, the make the plane shoot. While he was working on the plane, he shot the cannons off out of that F-16, which hit two other F-16s and blew them up, destroyed them. This is in Belgium. It was supposed to be an accident. So their F-16s aren't working. Well, at least three of them. Well, because one of them he was working on, and that one shot another two and took the other two down on accident. That's making us look very sloppy, wouldn't you say? Making us look like amateur. I mean, look here, we're saber rattling with the biggest and baddest out there. Russia and China, and some other countries that have capable militaries. We're saber rattling with them, and we're doing stuff like this, the U.S. and NATO, leaving ourselves wide open, guys. So what do y'all think about this? I mean, have you been noticing any military movement in your neck of the woods? Any Air Force, any airplanes practicing, military planes or helicopters or anything like that? Because I saw that I was watching that the Chinese stock market fell really badly yesterday. And so ours was basically stagnant, but it's going to catch fire around the world. Catch fire around the world. So it would behoove us to be ready for whatever at all times. Seattle, there's been movement, military movement. West Coast. Speaking of that, I saw a map of, a matter of fact, the power is out. Power is out in California. Most of the state of Florida, the power is out. And Northern California, the power is out. So what happened? Let me see. In Northern California, the winds picked up slightly, and the power company just shut the power off. They said the fires have all of a sudden returned to California, and they said the reason that they turned the power off was to slow down the fires. It didn't make sense to me either. So now this is something that they're doing, and you know what? That's what I'll do. Give me a second. I'm going to put those links in the description box for you. Actually, two different YouTubers who are reporting the articles, reading the articles, and giving their spin on what they're thinking happened. And one of them is actually in Northern California. So let me do that. Give me just 1 second. I'll put those links in the description box for you. You can follow along with me. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, here's one of them. Right here. Okay. Almost done here. Here. Okay, links in the description box. That's one. And let me get the other one for you. Looks like 100,000 or without power in California. And let's see, here it is right here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. All right, we got them in there now. And take a look at them. Like I said, they're reading the articles. You can, if you actually want to go to the actual article, the titles and everything is in the article, to where you can do that. Uh, one more thing. Let me do this. Bow, bow. Okay, so we're back. So it looks like there was widespread power outages in Florida, mainly due to the hurricane, quote unquote, Hurricane Michael. Widespread power outages in California, especially Northern California, due to the fires returning. And so take a look at that in the description box below. So, a lot of people are saying that there was a lot of internet outages today. Um, they were sporadically throughout Texas and other areas. People were notifying me all day, internet out here, internet out there. And then you have people that haven't been affected. They're saying, oh, you're spreading lies and fear mongering and false. Okay, if it hasn't affected you, great. Yeah, that's wonderful. Awesome. But some people have been affected. So I'm leaving the news out there. This is a warning for everybody to be prepared, to know what's going on, because have you heard it on CNN? CBS, NBC, or any other one? Okay, so this is how we're going to get it out. Yeah, there's no winds in California, the light winds. So that's what you call propaganda. Um, in my however old I am, years of living on the earth, they've never shut the power off to a community before a fire starts. No, they don't do that because of light winds. No, the fire has to start first, right? Or the weather. They didn't turn the power off to the people in the hurricane before the hurricane hit land. It just doesn't happen like that. It might go out, it might not, and that's when they knock the power lines down. So we have to decipher these things. We have to have discernment. We have to think for ourselves independently of what they tell us, because of course they're not gonna. I mean, why would they tell you the truth? I mean, they want you to be entertained, and I want you to be edutained, educated, and entertained. Um, so what do y'all think about that? I mean, something new. The guys in California was saying that. I mean, he said this is like a preemptive strike. Like they're gonna start doing this all the time, when they say, "Oh well, we got this kind of weather pattern coming, we're gonna go ahead and kill the power now." What you think that should be done? Um, I mean, it doesn't sound right to me. I mean, like I've sat through storms where, okay, well this block over here, transformer exploded or whatever and knocked the power out, and I never lost power. So why would you shut off my power if there's no need? And then in some instances, it never even caused a fire. So why would you, you know, just preemptively, oh well, we're expecting this, we're going to shut it off. The rolling blackout type of thing. And it's so they can get us in the grid, man. This is it. That um, we're definitely full fledged there. I'm thinking, what else do they have to do? They've already put the quote unquote keys in the internet to where they can compartmentalize you and lock you away. They can lock certain information from getting out of certain geographical regions. Um, They can lock it away from information from getting into certain regions. So the keys did a lot of things. They said, oh yeah, it's to keep it from going down. If somebody hacked it at the push of a button, you can't take the whole things down because now it's separated by the keys. Yeah, but the keys also, just like it can keep something out, it can keep something in. hmm So let me know what you guys think about that. And another thing that's already starting to happen, um, there was a Spanish flu of 1918. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the Spanish flu of 1918 was a deadly, deadly flu. I mean, I don't know if it's the H win, how they have all the four numbers and letters, the number and letter mixture these days, HN17 and all this other stuff. I don't know what the number thing was, but it was very deadly. The Spanish flu of 1918. Well, it's back. It's made a return. Um, Also, just the regular flu out of season has made a return. The flu started this year in August. It's JW3, Stephen Jackson did a report on that, and it was a genetically modified strain. Um, Hit the wrong time of the year, and it's already killing people. Both of these flus, it's showing a lot of flu deaths starting to appear in Kentucky and North Carolina. So do you remember how the flu hit last year? You remember the hospitals? I don't know about where you are, but where we were, it was so bad that the hospitals were turning people away. They were saying, if you get the flu, you get symptoms, they said, don't come to the hospital. It's full. And they were saying, unless you're deadly ill, they were like, don't come here because we're going to turn you away. We're gonna give you the signs to look for, the symptoms to look for. And when you're just about to take your last breath gagging and, then come on in and we'll find some way to help you. Other than that, and they had like tent cities. It was horrible. I never seen a flu epidemic like that. So now the Spanish flu, remember the flu of 1918 has returned, and then we have the regular flu, which is out of season. It started out of season. There's already starting to appear deaths from it. If you've never heard of the Georgia Guidestones, go and look that up. Georgia Guidestones. It's a whole big mystery, whole big conspiracy thing. But it basically says that they're going to get the earth down to 500 million inhabitants and maintain it at that level. So right now, it's over 7 billion, and some are saying it's about 7.5 billion people on the earth, right? So 7.5, so 500 million. So that means you have to eliminate 7 billion people to just leave that 500 million. How are you going to do that? How are we going to do that? How are they going to do that? It's probably with the war, right? It's probably with the economic crash, financial crash. It's probably with the weather, with the food or the lack thereof, the sickness and disease, pestilence, um, poison water, genetically modified. This is how they plan to do that. So right now, it's survival of the fittest. You know, self-preservation. So that's why I'm here to get the word out to you, to help you be more prepared. I mean, you said it was once appointed unto man. It was appointed once unto man to die, and after that is the judgment. So we gotta, if you want to live your best life now, well, live it. But the goal is to get another life, eternal life. There's only one way to do that. They're in the process. You're right. They're in the process. They're trying to starve us out, poison us. It was funny when I heard something like the hospitals are to make you sick and the schools are to make you dumb. But when I really thought about it, it's really what happens. Most of the people who caught Ebola that time caught it in the hospital, right? And then the schools, they teach you a lot of the facts. The history books aren't even right. So if you learn that and take tests on that and repeat that back and they program it into you, they've actually succeeded in dumbing you down instead of educating you. bringing it out to draw out the knowledge. Anyway, so what do y'all think about that, guys? Are you prepared? I mean, do you even have matches? You know what matches are? Yeah, people don't have that anymore. In case the lights went out, do you have candles? Or are you just gonna make a torch? You have batteries for your flashlights? Do you have flashlights? I mean, do you have storable foods and goods? Do you have a bug out bag? Because this extreme weather, I don't know where y'all are, but it rained like cats and dogs here all day today. And the temperature's gotten cold. Just a couple of days ago, it was like 80s. Today it was in the 40s. It didn't go above like 45, and it's probably colder than that now. We're very few degrees away. I mean, water freezes at 32 degrees, so that can do like that, and tomorrow we can be in an ice storm. So are you prepared? It's all about preparedness. This is the new way of life. It's nothing to fear, but just being ready for everything. So where we say already. See what I'm saying? Because we keep it already. You have to stay ready. Stay ready to keep from getting ready. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep me posted. Keep me abreast of anything y'all see. Send me tips and everything like that. And I'll keep my eyes open. If I see anything or hear anything that you should know about that I feel is important. And oh yeah, and again, thank you to all my new subscribers. I definitely appreciate y'all. Channel is growing leaps and bounds, and I'm speaking it. I'm saying channel is gonna start doubling, like daily, weekly, doubling. My views are gonna double. They already. This last week it was a lot of bad news. It's bittersweet because I got, like, in that week I got so many views. I had so many videos to take off, but because of bad news, because I'm the first one to put out the bad news. I don't want to keep. I mean, I do. I report the news. The channel was originally supposed to be about bettering yourself, a self-help channel, a business channel, beyond Babbitt. But a lot of the business videos aren't doing the numbers. You can't force it. You have to go with what people want to hear and see. So, and of course, I'm not stuck to one particular topic. I discuss everything under the sun, and hopefully I'll be discussing a lot more. A lot of people I plan on partnering with. But anyway, I don't want to bore y'all. But yeah, keep an eye out. Check on this for me. Anybody in the military, hit me up. Know what's going on, because I've noticed that there are some deployments happening in the U.S. I personally know some people getting deployed within the U.S. for like 3 or 4 months, and that was kind of odd for me. I don't think that's the normal mode of operation. Let me know if you think it is. Anyway, thank y'all for joining. Have a blessed day. Love y'all. Beyond Babbitt. Over and out. Stay prepared. All right. Brian Anthony, out of here. Have a nice day.